This is High Vibe TV, the uncensored, guided, and community-based video TV network with content recorded and live streamed from the world-famous High Vibe TV studios. High Vibe TV delivers daily, weekly, and special programs focused on astrology, spirituality, history, community, and more. This is not your run-of-the-mill astrology and tarot. This is the future of spirituality, illuminating new ways the collective can step into the dawning of this exciting new dimension. The highest vibe is truth, and the truth always prevails. Download our awesome app on the Apple and Android stores so you don't miss our notifications, with special spiritual insights curated to the energy of the universe. Search for us on your TV with our exciting TV apps on Apple TV and Roku. Catch our vibe on your computer, where you can join in on the live chat with our amazing community and blog. Watch spirituality like you've never seen before. Download our apps or go to highvibe.tv. Subscribe now.
The unpredictability scales have just risen way higher. Now, how do you deal with that? I think that the best way is Capricorn. You've got to learn to be an adult. You have to be informed, right? Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, being formed with as much to prepare for things in life is the best that you can do. North Node in Taurus is knowing that the stability is within yourself. It's in the values and knowing the skills that you have. And with Uranus there, it's going to test us. Let's not forget with Uranus that's here at 14 degrees now, right? It's coming, it's halfway through this whole transit, but it's also at the same time, you know, really going to test us as it's going into the last decan of Taurus once it stations direct next week. As we come into the summer, we're going into 20 degrees to 23 degrees, right? We're going into some really big new territory. And I feel that, you know, new territory is the best bet. So even with the world going to be going through new territory, our lives going through new territory, that's how you know you're on the best trail right now. The problem is the control factor. And I feel like that's the hard part, is when we try to have too much control over things, which Pluto in Capricorn loves control. Oh man, I want to control it all. Let me control everybody. Ah! Maybe Neptune is our saving grace, but that's how we're starting this week off with the Sun sextile Neptune. And learning to let go, learning to let this spiritual show happen, learning to trust our spiritual intuition into our path. That's our best path forward, knowing that we have to keep raising our abilities by, you know, even myself, even as an astrologer, you know, I've been, the whole comet thing, I had a book that was sitting on my shelf forever. I've looked at it for other stuff, but I went, I want to find some old astrology about comets to bring to you all today. So I was like, I still learn and still grow. We all have to. Uranus and Taurus is saying you have to grow with your abilities. You have to grow with what you're good at. You just can't stay, I'm the best at this. Nobody's the best. You have to be better. You can always be better. And that doesn't, and you know what? That's the best thing about Taurus, is Taurus isn't about control. Taurus wants to just be better at things, always, and wants to have the best. Now, it's an idea of control, but it's really not control. It really is realizing I can't sit in the same place and get too lazy or get to where I'm holding on to only this value system, because with Uranus, it's saying the value systems rise up more. And so this is a very important moment for us to raise our values. By the end of this week, when we get out of the weekend, it's kind of interesting to see that we're finishing this week with the moon in Sag. It's going to trine over to Jupiter. And I like that, because I think it's opening up ourselves for the great adventure when Mercury stations direct, and then we're getting ready for a new moon next week with Uranus stationing direct. But until that point, you know, this is us also going into how to find balance. The relationship thing, the balance thing, definitely going to be playing in your life. And not knowing how to, or knowing how to not get lost in a subconscious, you know, crazy paradox. And just because Mars is direct doesn't mean that the Gemini craziness ends. The fact that Mercury is going to retrograde back to 8 degrees, be where the South Node was exact on January 12th, 2020, right when it comes direct on January 12th, 2023, Mercury will be at 11 degrees, but will be covering the space to where the South Node Jupiter was during the great, grand, big, I'll just call it the behemoth conjunction of our lives. I feel like this is definitely where it ain't over. And also, not getting too excited because you have an expectation that this is going to just go this direction now, like that's going to be the control problems. And Libra is going to try and find peace and harmony, but at what cost? With the opposition to Jupiter, with the opposition to Chiron, and with the squares to Mercury retrograde, the Sun and Pluto, and with the trines to Venus and Saturn, I almost feel like it's like, okay, control is not going to be the way, expectations aren't going to be the way, and even more so, trying to battle your way through this isn't the way. It really is about knowing how to have a patient ability to observe and make sure that before you put it all together in your mind or you put it all together in your reality, that you understand how all the pieces are playing themselves out and that you're a really good player of this game. Because really, this is the best chess match that is showing up in all of our lives. Somewhere in your life, and especially it's going to be impacted because it's Aquarius with Saturn and Venus, and that being the dispositor of the North Node and it's squaring Uranus, that the world is going to impact each individual one of us uniquely, and that affects everybody else that is close to us in our life. And how does that trigger the effects of each person, and how do we handle that? That's going to be the odd part about this. The fact that we're collectively going to watch a comet that we've never seen before and won't see for 1,000,000 years. And we've never seen a green comet. If I were to put everything into one simple term for this week, it would be your ability to observe the greatness, respond when cleared by the divine, will be your greatest moments. Any falter to that message will be your great fall out of nowhere. Another way to put it would be, the better the universal divine chess player you are, the longer you can stay in this game. The one thing I learned the best being a chess club nerd and being in chess tournaments was the 4-move checkmate. I do it all the time on people. That's like kind of the secret code. If you're worth playing, if I could 4-move checkmate you, which a lot of people that know chess know it, but believe it or not, a lot of people don't. To me, this Uranus energy with this Capricorn, with Venus square Uranus, with the mooted Libra, it's the dunce that's just sitting there and like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing, and then fucking I've got control, and it's just like, 4-move checkmate, because it seems it's like, oh, they've only moved a couple pieces, there's no way they could take me down. Oh yeah, it's that fast, it's that easy. And so, knowing when to pull out the right pieces in your life, now you would think that's a control thing, but it's a response thing. It's also about knowing patience and waiting for the right moment in time when it feels like to move that piece and observing all of the pieces in your life. There's a fracture element to Uranus and Venus in square. There's a fractured element about this reality in your own life at this moment with Mars that's turning around to station direct in Gemini, with Mercury that's going to quincunx it for not only just this week, but going into next week. And that makes it harsh. Mercury and Mars, reactive, harsh, arguments, still accident-prone energy, and wanting things so fast, yet not able to get them. There's a huge patience and a huge block. Even for the fact that we are going to see, whether it is Venus square Uranus or we're going to see this 3/4 square of the moon in Libra to the sun in Capricorn with Pluto there. And I think that's where it's all coming down to is, okay, we want to stay in the game and we don't want to fuck up our board. We don't want to fuck up our game. We don't want to fuck up our life. Because it's really easy to do that in this period. The confidence in Mars can come back really fast. Does that mean it's go time? No. Not with the South Node being in Scorpio. Not with the moon going to be with the South Node in Scorpio this week. Not with the fact that Mercury is not stationed direct, nor the fact that Venus is squaring Uranus during this time. This is a time to have that extra bit of mastery. Because as we approach the 17th, when we come back, yeah, it's going to be a moment where we're all going to realize, shit, here's the Sun and Pluto we're going to have to face. And we keep looking forward to Pluto in Aquarius in March. And we keep thinking about Saturn and Pisces. But the fact is, we're still in Aquarius, Saturn. We're still in Pluto, Capricorn. And the Sun's going to meet with Pluto in Capricorn. And so this meeting that's taking place is one that's reviewing, since 2008, this ingress of Pluto in Capricorn. That's a long time. Now that we're in 2023, shit, it's getting to that 15-year point, right? Now, one thing in Sagittarius we didn't experience was 15, 16 years like we're going to have a Pluto Capricorn. One thing that we didn't experience in Scorpio, one thing that we didn't experience with Pluto and Libra, if you were around then, or even Virgo, is even going into that many years. Okay? Think about that. So this is a Pluto test that's testing us even more so because it's a longer test than you've ever had if you've been alive. Period. That now you're going to see more Sun Plutos in the same sign than you have in any other sign prior to this. Think of that. So, and it's Capricorn, which demands that you reach for the top, and also how well you maintain and how much you've reserved energy. We could feel very tired this week, ready for things to move and change. And boy, when Mars turns on, oh boy, it's like Hitler taking a fucking injection of methamphetamine and ready to go do his thing. Does that mean he's going to make it happen and do well or do good things? No. No. This is exactly the time when he did that. This is exactly the time, the last time that Mars stationed direct in Gemini after being in Gemini the whole time, in the beginning of 1944, where he started doing some crazy shit and he was shooting that meth up crazy. Thought he could fucking figure this shit out. Some of the worst tank battles and the worst battles of bloodiness took place following. The war cry for Americans to go into war at the beginning of 1944 was insane. Because they had a plan that was secret, that was drawn up during Mars retrograde in Gemini, was to storm the beaches of Normandy for D-Day in June of 1944. So, maybe we don't need to be, maybe we need to be a better chess player. And one thing that a good chess player knows is, even with the clock time in a tournament, you know how to gauge your time, you know what you're good at on the board, but that also depends on the player. And the player in this case, of course, is the divine. And the way the planets are, and the fact that it's throwing a curveball crazy move that makes Uranus seem like a boring planet, a fucking comet. So that makes you feel like, shit, maybe I don't have enough time. I'm going to have to make moves quicker. No, it doesn't. One thing I learned in chess club was when you face an opponent, especially at a tournament level, and especially when you become the last game to sit, and everybody's watching, And when you're fucking there and the other person is just as nervous as you, the universe is just as nervous to see these cards play just as much as we are to play them back. This is not the time to make jerky moves. This is not the time to jerk out of control. This is not the time to react. This is not the time at all. We have the death card Pluto waiting for us at the end of this week. We have a moon in Libra that is going to be barraged by the oppositions of Jupiter and extreme emotion, with Mars coming direct and with all this energy and the horns starting to blare. But Mercury is the blessing that retrograded on top of Venus. And now that Venus is going to square Uranus and Mercury just trine Uranus, we actually have to realize that maybe it's a lot better play for us to not think that we've it all figured out, not force things, not react to people, not to react to situations, and observe. And you know what? Run that clock out a little bit more to make sure that you make the right play and the right moves. Because that's how you win chess, is when the other person's too nervous and starts moving too fast and is too confident, is right when they were not paying attention to the other moves that you already were strategizing in your head and ready to play. And you're going to see that in people, and you're going to see that in yourself, and what side of that chess game you're in. And if you don't know chess, then that means you just play checkers, and that's a problem.
This is High Vibe TV, the uncensored, guided, and community-based video TV network with content recorded and live streamed from the world-famous High Vibe TV studios. High Vibe TV delivers daily, weekly, and special programs focused on astrology, spirituality, history, community, and more. This is not your run-of-the-mill astrology and tarot. This is the future of spirituality, illuminating new ways the collective can step into the dawning of this exciting new dimension. The highest vibe is truth, and the truth always prevails. Download our awesome app on the Apple and Android stores so you don't miss our notifications, with special spiritual insights curated to the energy of the universe. Search for us on your TV with our exciting TV apps on Apple TV and Roku. Catch our vibe on your computer, where you can join in on the live chat with our amazing community and blog. Watch spirituality like you've never seen before. Download our apps or go to highvibe.tv. Subscribe now.